International News.
PDP presidential campaign rally holds in Ilori. Candidate promises to encourage micro-industries growth to create more jobs for the youth. APC presidential standard bearer meets EU observer mission. First Lady urges Nigerian women to massively vote for the re-election of President Jonathan. And National Unity Group and Accord Party adopt the candidature of Jonathan for re-election next month. Welcome to the news tonight. I am Chinedu Obike. President Goodluck Jonathan says he will encourage micro-industries to create jobs for teeming unemployed youths if given another chance as the president in February 2015. This was at Ilori, Kwara State, North Central Nigeria presidential rally, where the president also promised that agriculture will be used to create billionaires in Nigeria. Salihu Abdullahi monitored the event.
The Ilori Metropolitan Square was agog with supporters of the People's Democratic Party who came to show their love and support to the party's presidential campaign train. President Goodluck Jonathan, while commending the people of the state, promised to support them in upholding the peace and harmony Kwara State is known for. This, he said, can only be achieved and sustained through total freedom, which he promised the people of the state and Nigerians. The president promised to carry on with his transformation drive by encouraging agriculture, micro, medium, and small enterprises, as well as continued collaboration with the private sector for Nigeria to maintain the lead economically in Africa.
You know that we have done so much in terms of road infrastructure. Of course, the trains are working. Kwara children now see trains. They no longer look at trains from the concept of cartoons on television screen. We are intervening in water, in power, in the health sector, in the education sector. But one thing that I must emphasize, even though it has been mentioned, is the area of agriculture and micro, small, and medium scale enterprises. That is why the present administration is taking agriculture to a different level. We are no longer talking about agriculture as a rural device of creating wealth.
Speakers, including Vice President Muhammad Namadi Sambo, PDP National Chairman Adamu Muazu, Director General Presidential Campaign Organization Ahmadu Ali, and Senate President David Mark, re-echoed the achievements recorded within the 6 years of President Jonathan's administration and promised more if PDP is given another chance come February.
People in Kwara today are using the train to go to Lagos, to go to Mina, to go to Kaduna and Kanu. Just last week, Mr. President directed me to commission and flag up the train service on the eastern wing that will travel from Port Harcourt to Enugu to Makurdi to Jos, Bauchi, up to Gombe. We want to say very emphatically in the North Central Zone that we will vote massively for PDP. We will vote for you to be the president of this country. I want to assure you, Mr. President, that North Central Zone will give you the highest vote in 2015.
The good work that our leader has done, I want you to know, this Nigerian leader is one of the leaders that we have had that has performed more than most of the other leaders have ever come to this country. Backward never. PDP!
The rally attracted party supporters from within and across the state. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Similarly, the federal government will continue to work with the private sector to improve the nation's economy and create more jobs. President Goodluck Jonathan said this in Lagos at a fundraising dinner organized by the Corporate Forum in Lagos to support his re-election. President Jonathan said he believes in the private sector participation in the growth of the nation's economy and will therefore continue to work with them. And they expressed appreciation for their support.
For any nation to develop, the private sector must be encouraged. That's one thing about this administration. We believe that we cannot work alone.
We believe that Nigeria belongs to all Nigerians, that you are in government today is a very transient position. But the country must endure, and for the country to progress, the private sector must be encouraged. And we don't have any reservation partnering with the private sector, because we don't privatize Nigeria. Nigeria belongs to all Nigerians. That is our commitment.
In the same vein, President Goodluck Jonathan says he is committed to the unity of Nigeria. The president stated this at the PDP presidential campaign rally in Jos, Plateau State. He said the task of keeping Nigeria one is one that deserves the commitment of all Nigerians. He described Plateau as a home of peace and tourism, adding that the people should continue to work to ensure the state retain its status. He appreciated the people for their patience, commitment, and for being pillars in PDP. Details of this report will come in subsequent bulletins. As part of his engagements towards effective observation of 2015 general elections, the European Union Election Observation Mission has held an interactive session with the APC presidential candidate, General Muhammadu Buhari. Correspondent Abdullahi Garba Birninkudu reports.
The interview session held behind closed doors had the candidate, General Muhammadu Buhari, Director General of APC Presidential Campaign Council, and some leaders of the party who interface with the European Union mission. The chief observer says they have deployed 90 observers who have been working since November 2014, as their assignment is not on election day alone.
Is what happened during all the big space of time, how the primaries has been done, how is respected the law, how respected, I will say, the propaganda, the media, and also afterwards any possible claim after election. Northeast, of course, we can't be there for security reasons, obvious security reasons. But anyhow, we have people deployed very close to the Northeast.
They have been vast in this, they have been covering other countries' elections, although not exactly similar to our own country. They are very experienced people. They are qualified to come for this supervision. And as you observe, they cannot cover all the 120 or 150,000 polling units.
In another development, the state coordinators of APC Presidential Campaign Council met in Abuja to strategize as the party ended its last lap of the campaign period. So far, the APC Presidential Campaign train has visited more than 20 states. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Bernokudu, NTA News.
Moving on, Nigerian women have been advised to appreciate the gender-friendly disposition of the administration by voting massively for the re-election of President Goodluck Jonathan and Vice President Namadi Sambo at the forthcoming general elections. This was part of the resolutions adopted at the end of a meeting by selected groups of women leaders and representatives from the 36 states of the country, with the First Lady Dame Patience Jonathan in Abuja. Julia Tanyanele reports that the First Lady read the resolutions.
The women leaders who met to brainstorm on how to ensure the successful conduct of the elections applauded the numerous achievements on sectoral basis of the administration and the People's Democratic Party and resolved to work harder to ensure that Nigerians vote massively for the re-election of President Jonathan. The women commended President Jonathan for putting women into positions of trust, noting that it is only proper to sustain the good gesture by re-electing him.
The Nigerian women. Nobody can love us more than PDP. Nobody can love us more than President Goodluck. And they have done well for Nigerian women. They have given us a voice and they have given us a position. Nigerian women, anywhere you are, come out en masse on 14th February. Is the day. Is the day for the call of Mr. President. Please come out and vote for ourselves, and vote for him, and vote for the freedom of Nigerian women.
They called on relevant organizations and PDP stakeholders to engage in massive voter education for voters to understand party symbols and avoid incidents of void votes. They called on INEC to ensure that all eligible voters collect their PVC on time and that no voter is disenfranchised. They resolved that Nigerian women should remain united, shun violence, and embrace peace for the development of the nation.
Nigeria is the only country we have. We must not use our hands to destroy it.
They also called on Nigerians to pray fervently for God's intervention for a peaceful and successful elections. In Abuja, Juliet Anyanele, NTA News.
We now bring you the story of the PDP campaign rally in Jos. The President Goodluck Jonathan says he is committed to the unity of Nigeria. The president said this at the PDP presidential rally in Jos, Plateau State. He said the task of keeping Nigeria one is a task that deserves the commitment of all Nigerians. He described Plateau as a home of peace and tourism, adding that the people should continue to work to ensure the state retained its status. He appreciated the people for their patience, commitment, and for being pillars in PDP.
Because it's the only party that gives the freedom to every Nigerian. I signed the Freedom of Information Bill to make sure that every Nigerian is free to express himself. With commitment, we're able to fight Ebola. With commitment, we're also going to make sure that the issue of polio, we have done away with it. So with commitment, we will improve on our economy to the extent that Nigerian young man or the Nigerian young lady will be able to create wealth for himself. We have so many reforms, and if you give us the next 4 years, we'll take this country to the level where you will all be proud to be Nigerians.
President Muhammadu Namadi Sambo told the gathering that the Jonathan administration is poised to link the state to rail network while agriculture will receive a boost.
The issue of job creation. And as I speak, Mr. President has approved the sum of 220 billion naira for micro, small, and medium enterprises, for which 5 billion naira is allocated for the people of Plateau State.
In a similar development, the National Unity Group, comprising members of various political parties, is spearheading talks between the People's Democratic Party and Accord Party towards adopting President Goodluck Jonathan in the presidential polls. The national coordinator of the group, who is also the minister of the FCT, Bala Mohammed, said members of the PDP within the group had not taken over the responsibility of the PDP National Working Committee, as everything discussed will still be subjected to the approval of the Adamu Muazu-led Executive Council. He added that the National Unity Group is working with the PDP towards the re-election of Jonathan in the forthcoming general elections.
Our own responsibility is to foster national unity. We want to avoid rancor, confusion, and dissensions. We want to do away with politics of acrimony.
The National Deputy Chairman of Accord Party, OK Sikuru Adeposi, said the party was on a working friendly meeting with PDP.
We as a political party, we do not have presidential candidates. And usually, this is not our first time of adopting PDP's presidential candidate as ours.
Other members of the People's Democratic Party, Cairo Ojukbo and Smart Adeyemi, extolled the outstanding performance of the President Jonathan-led administration in transforming the country as evidence for him to be re-elected for second term. A cross-section of Nigerians have described the re-election bid of President Goodluck Jonathan as a vital process of solidifying the nation's democracy. These Nigerians from different walks of life harped on the landmark achievements of President Jonathan as reason for him to earn their votes.
Before now, we had fertilizer mafias, and when he came, he decided to destroy that mafia, that syndicate, and today they have access to fertilizer. First of all, we see clearly that the transformation agenda of Mr. President is working. A lot of things that he has put in place And if he does not get a second term, what will happen to all those things?
We have a very clear picture that he has performed so much in the likes of infrastructure, health, and health-wise also. He has performed a lot, so I think he's the best president I've known so far.
Yes, he's a nice man, because all these Boko Haram that we are hearing is for them to just spoil the man governments.
We have never seen anybody as a president or head of state in this country that has ever been this open to everybody, where you can come out in the open, you go to the press to explain or express your feelings.
They observed that Nigeria cannot afford to breach the ongoing projects embarked upon by the president. We're going on a short break now. Earlier, you heard that the presidential campaign rally for the re-election of President Jonathan held in Ilori, Kwara State, where the standard bearer promised to encourage micro-industries growth to create more jobs for the teeming youths in the country. We also told you that the presidential candidate of the APC, General Buhari, has met with the EU Observer Group ahead of next month's general elections. When we return, research in military medicine gets a boost as NDC calls visits research center in Abuja. Plus more prayers by Nigerians for success in next month's polls.
Nigeria, we the people decree that the power of evil secrecy shall fail.
All Nigerians should understand that a divided Nigeria can only mean catastrophic consequences for the entire black race.
We all African countries count on you, and you are our beacon of hope.
That when Nigeria sneezes, all of us will catch cold.
All of us who look to Nigeria for lessons and inspiration never cease to thank God for this wonderful gift to Africa.
Nigeria enjoys the respect, the admiration, the friendship, and the hope of an entire continent.
The powerhouse of Africa.
Nigeria.
Unite and build Nigeria.
God bless Nigeria.
A message from protectors of Nigerian posterity.
The news continues. The Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, ALGON, has advised politicians to desist from making provocative and insulting statements before, during, and after the 2015 elections. Rather, they should enlighten their supporters to conduct themselves peacefully in a manner devoid of violence. Interim chairman of the body, Micah Yohana Jiba, made the appeal at a press briefing in Abuja. Correspondent Joseph Orok reports.
As the electioneering campaigns continue in the country ahead of the general elections next month, ALGON says it stands for a credible, free and fair polls. National interim chairman of ALGON, however, cautioned the youth to resist any attempt to be used to perpetrate violence and reminded politicians on the need to preach peace and unity in the country in their campaigns.
I don't see the reason why issue of this a crisis here and there. Forget that I'm Baji by tribe, you are Igbo by tribe, you are Hausa by tribe. We are one before God. The question I always ask and every day, that those that are looking for the power, after getting that particular power, without the people at the grassroots, where are they going to handle the administration?
He said ALGON aligns itself with electoral timetable released by INEC and urged those canvassing for a shift in dates for the elections to substantiate their doubts.
We are ready, and our people are ready to vote whom they wanted to vote for.
Mike Ajiba emerged the interim national chairman, management committee of ALGON after a series of peace talks by the two factions of the association to resolve their differences. Joseph Orok, NTA News.
Still on politics, the chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Atahu Jega, says Adequate arrangement is being put in place to overcome the challenges of transporting personnel and materials to the election units. He started this while receiving the leadership of the National Union of Road Transport Workers in Abuja. Correspondent Kenneth Nanem reports.
The National Union of Road Transport Workers has been a strategic partner with INEC during elections in the area of transportation of electoral materials and personnel. At this strategic meeting, Professor Atahiru Jiga acknowledged the union's role in achieving success during the Osun and Ekiti states elections. The INEC chairman says the commission is making efforts to ensure that eligible voters get their permanent voters' cards before the general elections.
We are now talking about organizing a high-level meeting between the national officers, in particular the state-level officers of the union and our resident electoral commissioners of movement of men and material in the forthcoming elections.
Commending INEC for the 2011 general elections that was adjudged free and fair, the national president of NURTW, Alhaji Najim Usman Yassin, says the union has been organizing workshops for its members to further equip them with their roles in assisting INEC to conduct a free and fair elections. The union also called on all politicians to respect the electoral laws as they go on with their campaign to achieve a violent-free 2015 general elections. In Abuja, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Similarly, Nigerians have been urged to put their trust in God and pray for a peaceful and violence-free general elections. Reverend Israel Akanji of the First Baptist Church, Garki, made a plea at a special service to end the 21-day fasting and prayers organized by the church in Abuja. Correspondent Rotimi Oluwagbemi's report is here presented.
In his words of exhortation, Reverend Israel Akanji described the year 2015 as a year of great reward and blessing for Nigerians. He reaffirmed the promise of God to deliver whosoever call upon him. On the forthcoming elections, Reverend Akanji enjoined the congregation not to panic because it will be free and fair, and the country will not disintegrate.
God's heaven will open upon Nigeria. Instead of the negative things, it is blessings that will come, showers of blessings upon Nigeria. We hope for that. February will come, elections will come, and we will cross February in peace.
As we pray and we are led by the Spirit of God, we should go and cast our votes for those ones or that person that we feel convinced of God that is going to rule our land.
Prayers were also offered for the unity and progress of the nation.
Nigeria will not become a laughing stock. This land will yield its harvest. This land will yield its...
As the countdown to the 2015 general elections continue, Nigerians in Saudi Arabia have been praying for a successful conduct of the exercise and for the Almighty Allah to grant the country's leadership foresight and capacity to contend the growing insecurity in the northeast. Adamu Abdullahi had details from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
Encouraged by the conduct of the Nigerian community in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the Nigerian consulate in Jeddah brought together the various groups of ulama living in the various regions comprising Mecca, Medina, Taif, and Jeddah under one umbrella to pray for the nation instead of holding the prayer session in smaller groups. The prayers centered on the need for a smooth, free, fair, and peaceful conduct of the general elections and also bringing to an end the insurgency tearing the northern regions of the country. Ambassador Ahmed Umar is Consul General at the Nigerian Consulate in Jeddah.
There is no place to Muslims like Mecca and Medina. We need peace, and without peace, no society, no country can progress.
Similarly, the Area Foundation in Mecca had held an awareness forum and also prayed for an end to the insurgency in the northeast, while pledging support to efforts of the federal and state governments through prayers.
We have 41 sheikhs which we sponsor to go to harams to be doing adua for Nigerians, because we want to have a successful election in Nigeria.
With the help of God, if we pray, we ask God, God answers our prayers, inshallah, because every prayer God answers, only the patience to wait for the prayer to be answered.
They call for support for the government of the day to overcome these challenges. Adam Abdullahi, NTA News.
Now, away from politics and campaigns, researchers in military medicine in Africa has received a boost with foreign participants of course 23 of the National Defense College who are on study tour to the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, Abuja, widen their horizon. Correspondent Mohammed Abdulkader reports that the study tour is in conjunction with the Ministries of Defense, Health and National Defense College.
All over the world, management of disease conditions and ill health revolve around new technologies, discoveries, and good medicines. Since Nigeria is taking the lead on the continent to open its vast areas of opportunity in drugs production and control, the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development was the right place to be for members of the NDC Course 23 drawn from 8 African countries.
Before we get to this level, you will need to protect the intellectual property that was built into this.
To take it home to the various countries, what Nigeria can do.
The Director General, National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development said 5-year strategic plan from 2011 to 2015 has given birth to a lot of discoveries and huge contributions to national healthcare delivery.
And I'm looking forward, based on this visit, for intimate collaboration between the Army and this institute.
The National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, established in 1987 under the Science and Technology Act, CAP 276, has the mandate of providing safety data and essential information for herbal and other drugs. In Abuja, Muhammad Abdul Kadri, NTA News.
And with that report, we'll wrap up this presentation of the news. We'll be back at 9 and with more reports. Thanks for staying tuned. Good night.
Toast to them, sir.
My assistant.
Even when I cook this, I prefer eating out of this one.
You know, food is very essential for our well-being. These and more on Guest Chef, showing on the network service of the NTA. Join us.
I promise to respect